I mean, it literally just fell out of the sky. I'm just really glad that I'm alive.
A drive home that sent a woman to the hospital. Coming up, we'll show you what hit her and her warning to other drivers.
A really nice night here across the state. Coming up, our next system arrives on Thursday. I'll let you know if you can expect any rain and snow and also the timing of a big cool down.
This is a really important day for children in the United States.
Developing tonight, the CDC signs off on the COVID-19 vaccine for younger children. What that means here in Utah.
The first college football playoff rankings were released. Where's BYU? I'll tell you coming up.
After a teen was killed in a crosswalk this weekend, a mom has said she's had enough. The changes she wants to see all across our state to improve crosswalk safety.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Tonight, a Midvale woman is recovering after being hit in the face by a chunk of concrete while driving on the freeway. It happened just hours after Fox 13 News interviewed her yesterday.
Yeah, quite a story. Tonight, she tells Fox 13's Emily Tenser that she's happy to be alive after this close call with the rock that she says appeared out of nowhere.
Sharon Cockane's Monday began normally. A shift at work, then the commute home. But during the drive, she was suddenly struck.
I mean, it literally just fell out of the sky.
She was heading south on 215 near 4500 South when the chunk of concrete crashed through her windshield, hitting her head.
You know, the rock was probably, it was bigger than a softball.
She says she was able to safely pull over and call 911.
I don't know if it got dropped off of an overpass, if it fell off of an overpass, if it could have come off a dump truck, but there's no other damage to my car. It just hit the very top. And then about 12 stitches on the outside.
Cockane has cuts across her face and in her ear canal, as well as a broken cheekbone.
I'm just really glad that I'm alive and the rock hit this side and not, you know.
Along the freeways, you know.
Corporal Tara Wahlberg with the Utah Highway Patrol says in Salt Lake County, troopers see an average of 2 debris-related crashes a week.
Sometimes it's wood, rocks are common, or chunks of concrete, things that, you know, fall off trucks or lawn care trucks.
But what should you do when you see something heading toward you?
Try to brake, or if you can change lanes safely, do that, but you know, you don't want to cause another crash, so really just, you know, try to avoid it as best as you can.
As for drivers hauling equipment, furniture, anything that could come loose, Cockane pleads with you.
Tie your load down. Just take an extra second to just make sure that your load is tied down.
Wahlberg says if you're driving and see a popped tire, chunks of rock, or anything that can cause damage or a crash, to call 911 so someone can pick it up. She says it is considered an emergency. Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
As we just heard that Utah Highway Patrol Corporal mention, debris in the road is a common problem here in Utah. Just this afternoon, a refrigerator was left in the middle of the eastbound lanes of I-215 at 1200 West and Murray. You can see a trooper move the fridge out of the way. Luckily, this did not cause any crashes. Now to a big development in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic for children.
The director of the CDC has approved the Pfizer vaccine to be administered to kids ages 5 to 11. The vaccine will be prepared at 1/3 of the strength of the normal dose given out to adults. Like the normal strength vaccine, children will receive the second dose of the vaccine 3 weeks after their first dose. Intermountain Healthcare says vaccines for children in this age group will be administered starting next week.
Children have been impacted by COVID both directly by its infection and also its impact on schools and other parts of their life. And this is a really big step forward to be able to make the lives of children better.
Doctors at Intermountain Healthcare say the COVID-19 vaccine can be given at the same time as other vaccines. Salt Lake and Davis County also announcing their rollout plans for the vaccine today. For more information on that and how to schedule a vaccine through any local health department, we can link you over from fox13now.com.
It has been a beautiful fall evening here in Utah, and Allison, thank you very much.
Yes, I'll take credit for that good weather. We're going to have mostly good weather for the next several days, but our storm clearing, so tomorrow morning we're not going to have that rain like we had this morning. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll be about 40 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy sky, and then we'll have those temperatures tomorrow close to 60. But as you wake up at 7 a.m., 38 in Provo, 41 for Ogden, 41 for Salt Lake, 36 for Logan, and St. George about 50 degrees first thing tomorrow morning. Your top weather headlines here across Utah. We're warming up. We have some nice fall weather ahead. We have another weak storm late Thursday that moves into far northern Utah. I think the majority of that will actually stay up into Idaho. And don't forget, daylight saving time does end this Sunday. And then we're also going to be returning to some more active weather. I'll let you know the details of a big cool down coming up.
Thank you, Allison. New tonight, a Utah mom heartbroken after a teen from her neighborhood was hit by a car while in a crosswalk on Saturday, is working for a change in her community and all across the state.
Fox 13's John Franke takes us to Taylorsville to explain what this mother wants to see on Utah roads. It's a story you'll only see right here.
Brent, do you want some more blue?
Tying red and blue ribbons to these trees on 27th West isn't how any of these parents and their children imagine they'd be spending this autumn afternoon.
So every time they drive past here,
they know that we love them.
They know that we love them.
But they felt compelled to do something.
Because you know what, sweetie? This is how we tell the boys' families that we love them.
For the families of the boys who were hit by a car in this crosswalk on 27th West while trick-or-treating. Carl Finch died due to that tragic accident. An accident one mom is working to make sure.
So anytime I hear that any child's hurt, it's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching.
Never happens again.
I believe it just takes one voice.
Kylie Jones is a mom of 3 boys.
Right now, I've started a petition for crosswalks, for any street that has a speed limit of over 25 miles an hour.
Gathering support to demand change.
If it has a crosswalk, it needs to have those buttons that they can push on the side for the blinking lights.
This crosswalk on 27th West isn't too far from where that deadly accident occurred, but this crosswalk is very different. There's a center island with lights overhead, plus street signs that are also lit. It's this type of crosswalk that Kylie wants to see all along this street and all across our state.
But the safety precautions have not grown with the number of people here.
Statistics show this is a statewide problem. So far in 2021, 36 pedestrians have been killed on Utah roads, 8 of those just last month.
We've had a rough weekend.
Jason Metman with the Utah Highway Safety Office believes the numbers could improve if drivers pay attention.
38% of our pedestrian crashes occurred in a crosswalk. That's a big number. People just aren't watching.
The numbers aren't surprising to patrol officers.
Sit at any crosswalk. You can write tickets till your printer runs out.
That's why Kylie,
we would be walking up to 62 to cross with the light,
is ready to sit down with lawmakers, hoping to get that added layer of safety to alert drivers and save lives.
I can be that voice to step up and say, we need to change. I can create a petition online. I can meet with my legislator. I can do what I can.
And you can find that link to Kylie's petition for crosswalk safety enhancements on our website at fox13now.com. In Taylorsville, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up on Fox 13 News at 9.
Supply chain demands are being felt in an unlikely place, the school cafeteria.
So it's kind of like a perfect storm.
How it's impacting school lunches and how schools are keeping up.
After winning 2 of 3 on the road, the Jazz back at home tonight against the Sacramento Kings. We'll have the highlights coming up.
I am beyond proud, which is exactly why I was willing to spend the day on the roof.
We'll show you how an elementary principal in Magna held up her end of the bargain after her students crushed a lofty goal. It's a story that's positively Utah.
It's election day, and while there are no statewide or federal races being decided tonight, there are some significant local races, plus the more widespread use of ranked choice voting this year, including for the races of 5 seats on the Salt Lake City Council.
In the District 1 race, Victoria Petro-Eschler is leading over Blake Perez. Richard D.M. Barnes has been eliminated.
In District 2, Alejandro Puy leads over Billy Palmer and Nigel Swaby. Dennis Ferris and Daniel Tua have been eliminated in that race.
In District 3, none of the candidates have been eliminated, but Chris Wharton has a more than 40-point lead over the two other candidates.
District 5, which includes the Ballpark neighborhood, none of the 5 candidates have officially been eliminated. And Darren Mano leads with 1,942 votes there.
And the last open seat for the Salt Lake City Council, District 7, Amy Fowler leads with more than 65% of the votes. Ben Raskin has about 28%, and Rainier Huck has about 6%.
Taking a look at Sandy's mayoral race, also being decided by ranked choice voting this year. So far, 5 of the 7 candidates have been eliminated with the results. Ronald T. Jones, Marcy Hausman, and Mike Applegarth did not survive the first 3 rounds, while Brooke Christensen and Linda Seville, they were the most recently eliminated. Jim Bennett got 49.7% of the votes, leaving Monica Zoltansky in the lead with 50.3% of the vote.
Another close race in St. George, this one with traditional voting. Jimmy B. Hughes currently has just under 44% of the votes, while Michelle Randall has received 56% of the ballots. That's more than 10,000 votes in his favor.
The mayoral election in Provo is not so close. With 100% of precincts reporting, Michelle Kafusi looks to be the projected winner here. She has more than 75% of the votes in this race, while Kenneth W. Dudley received just under 25%.
There are votes being counted right now for many other races around Utah. Fox 13 News is connecting you to the results from our website. Just go to fox13now.com. Now to a story that is positively Utah. A local elementary school principal climbed to the roof to shout praises for her students and throw candy.
Brave woman. Take a look at this. I think the kids liked it. Carly Chavez is the principal at Lake Ridge Elementary in Magna. Oh, doing a little dancing up there as well. Today she spent the day on the roof to reward her students and their hard work. Recently, the kids set a goal to raise $7,000 to help get new sports equipment for their school by selling candy door to door. They not only met that goal, but they crushed it. They raised more than $22,000.
I am beyond proud, which is exactly why I was willing to spend the day on the roof. These kids worked so hard. They went house to house, they went to neighbors, they had parents take them to work, they used social media, anything they could do to reach people.
Well, the money raised will go to buy new equipment like basketball hoops, playground rides, and more. And now that some of the COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted, these kids say they are excited to get to use the new equipment together. Just some moves up there on the rooftop.
Yeah,
yes.
look good.
Nice weather this afternoon for that. Also, we do have clearing after our system this morning brought a little bit of rain. Fairly minimal totals out of that, close to about 1/10 of an inch to up to 1/4 inch of rain along the Wasatch Front. Tomorrow morning will be drier, mostly cloudy to partly cloudy sky with temperatures close to 40 degrees first thing tomorrow morning into the mid-50s around lunchtime. So first thing when you wake up tomorrow, 7 a.m. 41 for Ogden, Salt Lake, close to 40 for Provo, mid-30s for Logan, St. George around 50. And by tomorrow afternoon, those temperatures will be closer to 60 degrees. So it'll be a nice day at 4 p.m. But let's look at Futurecast because our next system arrives late Thursday. We'll see a brief cool down, just barely. We'll also see a chance for rain mainly up into Idaho. That's quickly out of here, and then we'll have some more unsettled weather returning Sunday into next week. So days 6 to 10 for our precipitation outlook has Utah and the Pacific Northwest trending wetter than usual. This is days 6 to 10 towards the end of our 7-day forecast, towards about a week and a half out. So for St. George, your mid-70s to upper 70s through the weekend. Daylight saving time ends on Sunday. And then we'll have those temperatures by next Tuesday, mid-60s for St. George. So we do have some cooler temperatures headed our way. Wasatch Front, we are close to 60 to 65 through Sunday. Mid to low 50s Monday and Tuesday next week with some more chances for rain. And by next Wednesday, we're potentially into the 40s here in Salt Lake City.
Well, you might not suspect the supply chain problems to reach your child's school cafeteria, but we'll show you how it has coming up.
And as winter approaches and the snow begins to fly, where will all the seasonal workers in Park City live? How the city is tackling affordable housing.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Some of your news and the latest thing to be affected by supply chain problems, around the country are school lunches. When those kids go to the cafeteria, some of the most difficult things to get are apparently chicken and beef. What's happening is the USDA allocates food to go to schools. Those meats are sent to be processed at a certain place. Labor shortages there are then preventing food from reaching the schools in a timely fashion. Leaders at Granite School District say this is really affecting their ability to get meals to students.
As much as we're trying to order enough supplies as far out as we possibly can to plan a menu appropriately, sometimes those deliveries are showing up days late, sometimes just not showing up at all.
Well, the same labor shortages affecting the ability to process the food are also affecting schools as well, with dozens of open positions in food services for Granite School District alone.
Affordable housing has always been an issue in Park City, and it's the reason why so many people commute to work. City leaders say they are continuing to make affordable housing access a priority. Partly to blame is the rise of short-term rentals, such as Airbnbs and VRBOs, which drive up housing prices and reduce long-term rental inventory in the area. Right now, leaders in Park City are negotiating with a private developer to develop a city-owned property in town with a focus on affordable housing.
It's not that we're going to come in and allow for 10-story buildings. We're a historic community and we want to definitely keep that look and feel. But it's balancing that with the needs of the workforce and how that affects the economy.
Glidden says they're looking at the land management code to find ways to make it easier for the private sector to develop affordable housing, offering incentives such as increasing height and possible parking reductions.
The first college football playoff rankings were announced. I'll tell you where BYU landed coming up in sports. And the Jazz battled the Kings tonight. Some big shots down the stretch. The highlights are on the way. After winning 2 of 3 on the road to improve to 5-1, the Jazz back at home tonight against the Kings, a team they beat earlier this season in Sacramento. Jazz backcourt of Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell played outstanding. A little defense here. Mitchell deflects a pass. Conley pushes it ahead, then gets it back to Mitchell for the finish. Mitchell had 6 assists. Here's one of them to Rudy Gobert. He had a double-double, 12 points and 20 rebounds. Bojan Bogdanovic also solid for the Jazz. Drives in, scores the tough bucket off the glass. He finished with 20 points. And how about Mitchell here? Puts the rookie Devon Mitchell in the spin cycle. Then he knocks down the 3. That's a tough matchup. Hassan Whiteside has played well for the Jazz as the backup center. Gets the bucket and the foul. He had 9 points and 12 boards. Conley played like an all-star. How about this step-back 3? It's up and good. The 14-year vet looking very good tonight. Scary moment, though, at the end of the first half. Mitchell twisted his right ankle, the same ankle injury he had last season, and immediately ran off the court. Good news, he did return in the second half and played great. Follows up his miss here, gets it and scores. He led the Jazz with 36 points. Mitchell and Conley both had big shots down the stretch. Conley for 3 of his 30. The Jazz won at 119-113 to improve to 6-1. College football playoff rankings of the season were announced tonight. BYU's 15th. The top 4 get into the playoffs. Georgia number 1, followed by 1 loss Alabama, Michigan State, and Oregon. Ohio State first team out, and Cincinnati is 6th. The New York Jets have added former BYU quarterback John Beck to their coaching staff for the rest of the season. The former NFL quarterback is Zach Wilson's personal coach. Beck is in the gray hoodie there during Zach's pro day in March before the Jets picked Wilson with the 2nd overall pick in the draft. Zach is currently sidelined with a knee injury. And as you saw on Fox 13, the Atlanta Braves are World Series champions. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead in Game 6 against the Houston Astros. 3-run blast from Jorge Soler in the 3rd inning, and they never looked back. Here's the final out. The Braves won it 7-0 to win the series, 4-2. It's their 4th World Series title, first since 1995.
Isn't that something?
That home run. Have you ever seen a ball hit that far?
He swung at that with such aggression, and then he stood there at the plate.
Well, he knew it was gone. He knew it was gone. Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
Modern Family will be up next. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.